Hello, hi, how are you doing, everyone? We have a special guest today. Is attorney Electra Yao from New York, from the Yao Law Group. She's a fantastic person. She's a very professional person. She's focusing on artist visas and O1 visas. So, welcome, Electra, to this live. We are going to talk about the EB-1 visas and why not a little bit about the O1 visas. So, thank you so much for to be here, and we are going to talk about this.
Thank you so much for having me. Luis, you have a very exciting practice, and I'm honored to have this discussion with you about O1s and EB1As. They're very, very special visa types, and I think that your guests and your audience are in for a treat today.
Thank you so much. Well, many people, Electra, they don't know that this type of business exists. So especially the EB1 visas and OWA visas, you are an expert in that visa. So many people they don't know that based on their extraordinary abilities in that specific art, sport, scientists, many other abilities that the person can have, the nature abilities, so they can get the green card. Can you imagine that? So uh, we can talk about a little bit more about the criteria, but it's fantastic. This is fantastic option. So I don't know. Can you talk about that, please? No, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Okay. Meanwhile, attorney Zhao, Elector Zhao is fixing there. So we are talking about EB1 visas. EB1 visas are a specific type of visas that the EB visas are a specific type of visas that can provide you the green card to live in the United States. So in this type of visa, the EB1 visa, you can get the green card visa. You can get the green card visa only, through your self petition. Okay, you don't need an employer, so you need only your extraordinary abilities to apply for the a green card visa. Let's see what happened with the attorney over here. Okay, are you there now?
Oh,
Excellent.
can't hear you.
It's okay. No, I was talking with the people over here. That thank you so much for you to be here, Electra. It's an honor to be with you, sharing this live. I was talking about the criteria that the person needs to apply for this type of visas. So, I mean, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is, okay. Hello, hello. I cannot hear you. Okay, a little bit technical difficulties with Electra Yao from New York. So, talking about the different criteria, the criteria, the most important is that you have an excellent resume. An excellent resume is very important for the attorney to. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, and I am hearing you perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
No, I was
Um,
talking, Electra, with the people here that we have some people right now that joined this live. So that first of all, they can get the green card with this type of visas, the EB visas. But specifically, we are focusing today on the EB1 visa with the extraordinary abilities. The person can come here and to get the green card. That's fantastic. So, that's the idea with this live. We are going to talk with this about this visa and to talk about the criteria that the person needs to satisfy for this type of visa.
Yeah, I think these are really great questions. One thing to realize about the EB1A is that the legal standard is extremely high. It
That's
requires a very, very high level of achievement in your field, number one. Number two, you need to fulfill three out of the required 10 criteria, and you need to fulfill the Kazarian analysis. So I think that sounds a little bit complicated to some people. So I'm going to break it down. The EB1A is really really looking for people who have reached the highest percentage in their field. So green cards that I've done green cards for athletes. I've done green cards for creative people such as photographers, makeup artists, PR professionals, etc. So the three criteria is really something that you should be developing not only in your career, but for the green card as well, because you can absolutely fulfill the criteria. So the number one criteria that we need to prove is the distinguished contributions that you've made in the field, whether they are academic, business related, artistic. These are basically, and so a lot of people ask, so what is a contribution? What does
Correct.
that mean?
Yeah,
A
correct.
contribution a contribution is basically anything that you have created or done to have impact your industry or that has impacted an organization, a company, or a client.
That's
So let me give you an example of one of my favorite clients.
mhm.
What my client was able to do, what the impact that we argued was that he was able to manipulate the images in the fashion industry so
Fantastic.
as to influence all of the people reading the magazines. Right? This is a
Fantastic.
huge thing that he did on behalf of a photographer that he worked with and with different
Sure.
magazines that he worked with as well. If
Fantastic.
you are if you are a business person, a contribution could be maybe you created a system that revolutionized the company, and that system
Correct.
resulted in high level sales for your company.
Yeah.
Maybe if you are an academic, maybe you translated a text that is now being used at the university level. And
Correct.
through that translation, you are impacting the next generation of academics.
That's
So,
fantastic.
so
Yeah.
these
What?
are just a couple of examples of
Yeah.
how to contribute to your field.
Incredible. What about Alexa? I mean, this is fantastic option for those who have been able to get that level. But also, one of the most important things that I see in this type of visa is that you don't need an employer. You are a self petitioner. First of all, because to get an employer is very difficult today. So also the other aspect that is very important to notice in this visa is that you can bring your family, your immediate relatives, 21 years younger kids, and also your spouse. So they are going to get immediately the green card. This is fantastic. And also, many people, they don't think that they can qualify for this, but I have known many sport people that they can qualify for this, but they are maybe like a little bit afraid to apply for this type of visa. But at the end of the day, they are wasting this type of like an opportunity to come here with a green card. So this is fantastic, Electra.
Excellent points, Luis. This EB-1A is life changing. You don't need an employer. You can bring your family. You
Correct.
all get permanent green cards to be able to continue to work in your field. Other visa types require, or permanent visa types for green cards require the cooperation of the employer. Also require the employer to pay all of the legal fees.
Correct.
So a lot of people in this current climate are not making the investment
Yeah.
in foreign nationals. They are not making that
Exactly.
investment because
Yeah.
it's costly, it's a risk, and frankly, there's no guarantee of approval. The perm process is a very difficult process.
Correct.
But with the EB-1A, all you need to prove instead of the job offer is you need to prove that you're going to continue to work in
Yeah.
your field,
Yeah.
that you're going to continue to do what you
Correct.
do in your home country.
Another point that I think we can talk about it, Electra, is the point that the person can. I mean, doesn't need to be like the Olympic medalist or the Oscar, like a winner or something like that. Just like satisfying three out of the 10 criteria, that the law established for this, like a type of visa. So that's enough. Of course, it's a very high level visa with respect to the standard, but it is not impossible. It is not only for that type of people, like okay, the Oscar winner or the Grammy winner, but also like people who have been recognized by the national level or international level, like a South America level or European level, not necessarily like a worldwide, but the person can satisfy 3 out of 10 criteria, no?
Absolutely. I think a lot of the times clients are, you have to understand, foreign professionals, they often downplay their achievements. You can absolutely qualify for the EB-1A, even if you have not won an award, even if you don't have a high salary. These are not hard requirements to be able to secure this green card. What I look for as an attorney when I'm consulting with people is, how can I be creative in telling your story? There are many people who come to me who have been turned away from other attorneys, and it's because the attorneys fail to understand what your personal story is, what the impact is. I'm not saying that in order to get the green card, you need to be able to have like you said, won an Oscar. That's great, but there are many people that I have worked with who did not have an Oscar and who did not have any sort of
Correct.
award.
Yeah.
Government recognition is great. Even social
Yeah.
media handles, if you have a high online presence of many different followers, we're talking large numbers, that is also sufficient.
Other 2 points, Electra, that we can talk here is the point that you can pay a premium processing fee and you can get a response in 15 business days, which is fantastic. That other type of business, they don't provide that option. So secondly, I think if you agree with me, the most important aspect is to have that resume, like as a first step that the person can do with us, as an attorney. They can send us that resume, and we can like do kind of like a pre-analysis to see if the person can satisfy that this type of like a criteria.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first point about the premium processing speaks to the very special nature of this visa.
Yeah.
The EB-1C does not have the premium processing option. The EB-2 national interest waiver does
Correct.
not have the premium processing option. So it's really a very unique green card that really allows you to file your case with a lot of freedom. Premium processing, although it is very costly, it really gives you the opportunity to know the answer very quickly. When you know the answer very quickly, you can strategize with your family, with your attorney, so that you can plan the steps to creating your life here in the US.
Also, I think there are many people that they can satisfy this, like evidence, but unfortunately, they are no kind of people like they are trying to keep the evidence through the years, like the article of the newspaper, or articles that they wrote for a specific magazine or something like that. All of this evidence is very important for those who are looking for this type of opportunity. This is a fantastic opportunity, but you have to work with your attorney. I think Electra, the evidence is the most important part here, and many people they are not very disciplined in keeping these records, the portfolio, and like the chronologically organized in order for someday to apply. And now is the time, for example, that the person, for example, can has been, like competing in, I don't know, martial arts for 20 years, but they never organize their awards, their prizes, their tournaments, perhaps. So, and now is the time. So, that's a good advice, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that many people who are not thinking about the EB-1A or the EB-2 or the O-1 really ignore all of the documents associated with their
Correct.
petition. So the first step really to creating a successful petition is the organization of the
Yeah.
achievements. Not every achievement needs to be argued. There are only select achievements that I look at because I like to really make a strong impact with my cases. I don't need to include 10 to 15 different achievements. If there are 5 really strong achievements, I'm going to focus on that, and I'm going to focus on the documentary support. Now, thankfully, we live in the digital age where we have the ability to access information like emails. For example, I always include emails in my petitions. So if you have a Gmail account, it is very easy to go back and look through your emails. So emails, pay stubs. If you got paid electronically, then you would have the bank records, and we often use that. We redact the other information, or we black out the other information, but we definitely include the bank records. Sometimes employers or project managers, they will send a digital contract for you to sign. All of these things that you might not think are important to your case are actually essential elements to telling your unique story. EB-1A has a high legal standard, and immigration officers have many, many petitions to read every single day. They have the spirit of wanting to deny these cases because it is such a special green card, and because you can get the results so quickly.
Correct.
That's why it is critical to really work with an experienced attorney to really tell your unique story so that you stand out. Again, it's just like Luis said, it's not about having won an Oscar, it's about strategic curation of your petition and making the most important achievements stand out. And even if, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before Luis hops in, and even if you do not have the documentary support, we can support your achievements with testimonial letters from experts in your field who confirm your achievements and your contributions to the field.
Correct. Also, one important thing that people they need to know is that they have to be able to, to organize this evidence, and also, chronologically, and also to, if it is, for example, a person who have been practice and a sport that is not very popular, like martial arts, for example. I say martial arts because I practice martial arts, so that's why I'm talking about that. But there are cases, actually, I have been read those cases that in which the officer doesn't know what does wushu mean. For example, a Chinese martial art. So they need to be able to understand the officer, the immigration officer, in an easy language. What is this type of the sport? What is the a competitional level of that sport? The categories, that you are competing for, in this specific sport, and also finally to see that there are many people that they don't have enough evidence yet, so they can have two ways. I don't know, Electra, if you agree with me. First, to to improve that evidence through the years, because the person is still very young, or two, to apply maybe for a no one, which is a little bit lower standard. So what do you think about it?
So I think that those are really great strategies, and those are actually the strategies that I utilize with my clients. So the O1A standard for business and athletics is actually very similar to the
It's
EB-1A
very
standard.
similar.
The O1B standard is a lower legal standard. So typically, what I like to do is I like to get my clients the O1 through the agent so that they can work with multiple employers and multiple projects throughout their career. The 3-year validity period, they're working with full authorization. And then clients who follow my advice, usually during the first year or second year of their second O1, their extension. So usually after 4 or 5 years of professional work, that's when we file the green card. Because if you are at least my client, you know exactly what I'm looking for you to be able to say for your petition. And it's an ongoing process. It's not really like, oh, I'm just going to apply for my green card. It's no, you go through the different processes because we need to prove your distinguished nature throughout time. So
Yeah.
yes,
Also, yeah.
one way is to continue to develop your expertise through the O1, and another way is to continue to develop your expertise in your home country if you're not able to get a work visa to come work in the U.S.
Correct. Another aspect that is important to know is that the person can obtain, of course, the green card through an adjustment of status here in U.S., but the person has to be very careful to maintain the legal status here in order to apply for that adjustment of status. So sometimes, I mean, this week, for example, I received several calls from potential clients that they are looking for this type of option. And I mean, in my opinion, in those cases, in some of them, it is better to do the consular processing, because they have businesses or they are competing in their own country. So I mean, in sometimes it's better the consular processing in order to avoid this, like a struggling aspect of the legal status here in U.S.
Absolutely. So, about 2 years ago, the current administration instituted interviews for employment-based green
Oh
cards.
yeah.
So, any sort of unauthorized work will be scrutinized during the interview if you're going to adjust status in the U.S. So, it's absolutely a great option to undergo consular processing. Um, if you have these issues. Another issue, and I want to bring up a client and what we did for one client is we just applied for the I-140, right? So with the I-140, we didn't apply for the adjustment because the client was a very busy client and really could not dedicate time to being present in the U.S. and waiting for the interview. So basically, we applied for the extraordinary ability part. The client got approved on extraordinary ability, and then when the client was free and could take time off work, we then filed the adjustment of status. So I think it's important to distinguish the fact that you can choose how you want to file your petition. You can file your petition in a one-step EB-1A, or you can separate it into a two-step EB-1A, and first file the I-140, so the extraordinary ability part, wait till that gets approved, and then file the adjustment. However, you should realize and you should know that you have up to 1 year after the I-140 approval, or else your petition or that I-140 is abandoned and you need to restart the process.
Other aspect that is important for those who are applying for this type of visa. Let's say like it is approved in a consul, as like throughout a consular processing. The person has to to organize his or her life, because you are going to receive your immigrant visa and you have 6 months actually to move permanently to United States. So otherwise you cannot use this immigrant visa. So that's
Correct.
very important too, because many people they say, okay, no, I'm going to maintain my permanent resident in my country. No, you can't, because once you get your immigrant visa from to move here permanently, you have to use it. Otherwise, you are going to lose it.
Absolutely. That's why it is really critical to work with an experienced attorney who can
Correct.
advise you on all of the strategic decisions that you need to make, even beyond receiving the green card, because there are a lot of logistical issues that need to be taken care of. For example, where are you going to live? Where are your kids going to go to school? And if you work with an experienced attorney, he or she will be able to properly guide you on what those logistical answers are, because it's like you said, Luis, it's not really only about getting the permanent residency, because if you don't utilize your immigrant visa issued by the consulate, you lose it. You have to restart the petition or revive the petition again. So you really need to take those affirmative steps to find a school for your kids, find a
All
house,
right.
wind down your businesses so that you can benefit from your immigrant visa and thus your permanent residency in the United States.
And by the way, another requirement that you have to maintain, working or practicing that specific sport, or doing the same art during like the process of your permanent resident card.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to submit a document, whether it's an affidavit or a sworn statement or an artist statement, that you will continue to work in your field. And I actually go a step beyond for my clients. And what we do is we include a tentative itinerary of all of the different projects
All right.
lined up in the future that depend on my client's ability to work in the US permanently.
Yes, Electra, just to for the last part of the live, that it has been amazing. Thank you so much again, Electra, for being here. So,
Thank
I
you for
mean,
having me.
I think we are going to have more lives like this ones, because we have to talk more about this criteria. But we would like to know your information in New York. Please provide us your YouTube, your Facebook, please, for people to be able to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. Our firm is called Yao Law Group. We have offices in New York and New Jersey, but we work all throughout the United States. We have clients located all throughout the United States and abroad. I myself am fluent in French and Italian and conversational in Spanish. Our office speaks French, English, Italian, and Spanish. And we have a long history working with creative professionals and investors in the US to make sure that they can continue their business, be with their families, and become the best person that they can be in their career and in their lives in the US. So you can reach me on Facebook, on my firm page, Yao Law Group, on YouTube, Yao Law Group, and on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok if you're on TikTok,
Yeah,
Yao
you are
Law.
very popular in TikTok now. Yeah. Yeah, no, fantastic. I mean, and we are here in Miami. I mean, so we are doing kind of a alliance. So we are a little bit closer to South America, which is very important too for many people there in Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, that they can apply for this type of visas, and they don't know actually. That's why we are interested in this type of lives. I don't know if you want to add something important about this, last part of the life, Electra.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add is don't read the law and think that you qualify or you don't
Yeah,
qualify. That is the number one mistake I see when people are thinking about making a permanent move to the US. Really entrust yourself, entrust your life, entrust your family's life in the hands of an experienced attorney like Luis or like myself or like any other reputable licensed attorney. Do not
right,
utilize a
right.
notario. Do not utilize
No,
a
no,
non-licensed attorney, because this is not a game. This is
no,
your
yeah,
life. This is your family's life. So please work with somebody who is experienced and who can give you true legal strategy. Because again, it's about telling your story so that you get an approval. This is not a game. This is really your life, and it's important to work with somebody who understands the law and how to apply it to your
that's
case.
true. Yeah, no, I mean, excellent, excellent point at the end of the of this live. Amazing. I think we talk about the main, elements of this visa. It was fantastic, Electra. It was the first time, but it was amazing.
It
So
won't be the last.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, thank you so much, Electra. I think we have to schedule another opportunity to talk with you about another, option, maybe people they can have for to come here and to get the green card.
Yeah, maybe if your viewers want, we can talk about athletes and how you can have an athletic
Exactly.
career in the US, and you can certainly speak to that based on your experience as a martial
All
artist.
right. Oh, by the way, I just want to finish with this is my EB-1.
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Yeah, there was it was a lot of evidence here, newspapers, people they need to be organized. I mean, since I start martial arts lecture, I mean, actually my mother was she helped me a lot because she got the newspapers when I was competing a lot throughout
Hmm.
many years, and I have pictures since I start my career as a martial artist. So this is very important. The identification, the little arrows indicating when you compete,
Yeah, and that is actually
everything.
a really great example to
Look at
show
this.
people once they come into your office, because a lot of times people can't
Actually,
picture
look,
what
the
compete looks
number,
like.
the number that you use in the back, everything,
That's
you know,
awesome.
the evidence, everything. This is very important, and you talk very well about this organization and the chronologically, organized. No, fantastic, Elector. It's an honor to be here with you. You are an excellent attorney. Please contact attorney Elector Yao. She's fantastic. She's an amazing woman, an example, and also an amazing person too. Thank you so much, Electra. Bye.